So this is year 3. This class is going to be about sports. So I'm going to ask you to take a look at page number 6. All right? Our aims today are to revise and learn vocabulary for sports, listen to a podcast about a memorable sporting moment, complete information from the podcast, and learn the difference between win and beat. What's your favorite sport? My favorite sport is rhythmic gymnastics. It is because I used to be a gymnastic when I was at school many years ago, more than 20 years ago. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to take a look at activity number 1. Please, it says answer questions 1 to 5 with the names of the sports. Sometimes there is more than one correct answer. We have archery, kayaking, mountain biking, rock climbing, track and field, and wakeboarding. So, which sports should wear a helmet for? In your opinion, which sports should wear a helmet for? Okay, so the answers are kayaking, mountain biking, and rock climbing. Number 2, which sports involves running, throwing, and jumping? Track and field, right? 3, which sport was originally a way of hunting? Oh, it was archery, definitely, right? 4, which sport involves sitting? Okay, so you sit in kayaking and mountain biking, right? 5, which sports needs a motor? Wakeboarding. All right, so let's take a look at activity number 2. Okay, so I'm going to read the task and the first question. There is a missing word out. There's a missing word, right? Try out is a phrasal verb with the meaning try something for the first time, right? If you say try out, it means try something for the first time. If you have the chance to write the questions in your copybooks of English, notebooks, that would be good. You can use dictionaries if necessary to this activity. I'm going to give you some time to prepare your own answers to the questions. And so the idea is that you pause the video in this moment and then you continue, all right? So now I'm going to give the answers. Number 1, which sport would you like to try out? So remember, try out is a phrase that means for the first time. Try something for the first time. The second question: Are you good at running, or are you always trying to catch up with other runners? Catch up with other runners. So good at running, or you need to catch up with other runners. Like make an effort to be in the same line with the other runners. 3, what sport skills have you picked up since you started high school? What sport skills have you picked up since you started high school? So which skills have you developed since you started school? 4, which free time activities have you taken up recently? Take up is start. 5, which activities with friends have you missed out on recently? So which activities with friends have you missed out on recently? Because of, for example, coronavirus, you have missed out many activities with friends, I imagine, right? Remember, we are practicing vocabulary. In this activity, the idea is that you can give a description of some of the rules of a sport. This is going to be one of the activities we are going to do on Monday's task, because using modals and semi-modals from page 5, you're going to talk about the rules of some sports. For example, you can play this game inside or outside. You have to hit a ball over a net with a racket. The ball is allowed to bounce once. but it can't bounce twice and it has to land inside the court. What sport is that? That's tennis. You see? So we are giving the instructions and then we say what sport we are describing using the modals. I'm going to ask you to do that on Monday, so do not forget class participation. So exercise 3, read the task, please, and read the description of the podcast and find the answer. Okay, so we're going to check the answers together. This is a listening activity since we don't have the audio available. You're not at school. I'm going to read it for you. All right? So do not worry. I think I uploaded the audio, the listenings, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so it is going to be from page number 6. It is a presenter and it's Angela. First, it says, Activity 4, listen to the podcast. Why didn't people expect Stephen Bradbury to do well? Has he had a similar success since then? Then it says, listen again, copy and complete the information about Stephen Bradbury. So let's get started with the audio. It says, the presenter. Everyone loves a winner, but in this week's Sporting Moments podcast, we have decided to take a look at sportsmen and women who became heroes by chance. Here is Angela with the first. Angela. What do you think of when you hear the words Australia and sport? Cricket, rugby, or maybe water sports such as surfing or wakeboarding? Well, I'm sure nobody would say ice skating. However, ice skater Stephen Bradbury shocked the whole of Australia and the rest of the world when he won his country first ever gold medal in the Winter Olympics of 2002. For years, Australians have asked themselves the same question. How did he do it? Well, here's the full story. Although most of his schoolmates took up outdoor sports, Bradbury decided to try out ice skating and ended up representing his country. At the Salt Lake City Olympics, luck was on his side. Bradbury felt tired after his first 2 races, and when he couldn't catch up with the leaders in the semi-final, he thought his games were over. Then suddenly, 3 of the skaters fell. Bradbury finished second and made it through the final. In the final, Bradbury was even more tired and was last with 50 meters to go. Unbelievably, the other 4 skaters crashed and fell as Bradbury skated past them, all to win the gold medal. Bradbury hasn't skated in any competitions since then, but Australians have invented a phrase to express the idea of unexpected success. Doing a Bradbury, the presenter said. Wow, that's quite a story. Thanks, Angela. Now we go from a lucky skater to a lucky tennis player. Here's and then continue with the audio. All right. So, going back to the exercise. Why didn't people expect Stephen Bradbury to do well? Has he had a similar success since then? Okay, so according to what we heard, we know that people didn't expect Stephen Bradbury to do well because he comes from a country where it's unusual to do winter sports because of the climate. And he hasn't skated in any competitions since he's a success. Activity 5 said, listen again, copy and complete the information about Stephen Bradbury. So now in activity number 5, that it is this one, I'm going to ask you to play the audio again because I'm not going to repeat it. You play it again and you complete the exercise. So pause the audio because now I'm going to give the answers, all right? So now that you read the gapped information about Stephen Bradbury, listen again. Then let's check the answers. 1. The sport is ice skating. 2. The competition is Winter Olympics. 3. The location is Salt Lake City. 4. Lucky break in the semifinal. 3. Skaters. And Bradbury finished second. Then number 6 is the 4 other skaters crashed. And finally, number 7, the phrase is doing a Bradbury. It's for an unexpected success. Grammatically speaking, it's about the simple past and the present perfect. So how to use the simple past and the present perfect in English? Okay, simple past mainly is when you talk about a specific moment in this past, very specific moment. So it is when you say that something happened and we know when, all right? So it happened and we know when it happened. But the present perfect is mainly to talk about life experience. So if you have done something in your life, all right, so it is not the same. The structure is not the same either. In simple past, you use the verb in past. Remember, only in affirmative sentences. You use the verb in past in affirmative sentences. For example, I went to Paris last year. But when you say it in negative, you use didn't. So in that moment, you don't need to use the verb in past. In present perfect, you use the subject plus have or has and a past participle verb. In irregular verbs, you will always see that it is the last column of the list of verbs. That's the one you have to use. So for making it negatives, you use haven't or hasn't. So talking about the simple past and the present perfect, we can say that we use the simple past for finished actions or situations that happened at a specific time in the past. We often use the time expressions that specify when the action or situation happened. For example, I went to Puerto Rico 3 years ago. We use the present perfect for actions or situations that are unfinished. For example, I have studied English since 2013. In that case, I say that I started studying English in the past, but I still study English now. Or things that happened in the past, but it isn't clear or important when. Like Daniel has been to Florida, but we don't know when Daniel went to Florida exactly. So life experience. Read the sentences and answer the questions. We have some sentences there. Please read them, try to do the exercises because we are going to check them. Pause the video, pause the activities. Remember that we use the present perfect to talk about unfinished periods of time. Number 1, he won Australia's first ever gold medal in his sport in 2002. That sentence is in simple past. He won. Subject, verb in past. Specific. B. He hasn't skated in any competitions. So in that case, we say subject, the has in negative, hasn't, and skated is the past participle form of the verb skate. So that's present perfect, and we are talking about life experience. C. For years, Australians have asked themselves the same question. So Australians is the subject, have, and the past participle form of the verb because we say something that started, but it is unfinished, present perfect. And D, how did he do it that day? In that case, it's a question with the auxiliary did on the verb, so that means it is simple past. We are talking about a specific day. So, which sentences talk about unfinished periods of time? It's sentences B and C. Which sentences talk about finished periods of time? It is A and D. Which sentences don't say exactly when something happened? B and C. And which sentences say exactly when something happened? It's A and D. Okay, so there we have an activity I'm going to ask you to complete. That it is complete the report with the correct simple past or present perfect form of the verbs in parentheses. And that would be the last activity of today. All right? So, complete the sentences, read the text, and complete. Now I'm going to give you the time because then I need you to listen to the answers. Ready for exercise 8? So now that you read, ignore the gaps. Now we are going to listen to the answers. Number 1, what did you? Number 2, I'm pretty sure you didn't jump. Remember, when it's negative, the verb is not in past because we have the auxiliary. 3, she has already had in present perfect. 4, she started. 5, she hasn't been. 6, she won. 7, she broke. 8, she hasn't achieved. Okay, people, finally, we are going to complete the task with nouns, but no, that's going to be in the next class because now talking about sport is going to be finished. Please take a look at the activities that I have just that I uploaded to your page, and do not forget that we are going to be talking on Monday about the activity about playing games and the description using the modals and semi-modals. So best of luck. See you on Monday.